Hello and welcome to Abundant Possibilities. My name is Sarah James and I am reading from the book I Am the Word by Paul Selig, and it is a guide to the consciousness of man-self in a transitioning time. And I've read the last couple days, and now I'm on the first chapter, 1. So if you have these books, I've talked about them before. They've been amazing, and I really wanted to share this information with as many people as I can, even if there's just one person out there that needs to hear this message or resonates with this message. I am glad to share this information. And this is something that I listen to on the Audible almost every day when I walk to roller skating, which is an amazing way to start my day. And Paul Selig acts as the channel in these books. If you haven't heard of him, then you can go to YouTube, check him out. When he channels, it's a little hard for me to understand sometimes because everything comes in double, but the information is coming from the Ascended Masters, and I just love what they say. The way they say it, I don't know, it just strikes a chord in me. So these are something that the books are something that I love, and I wanted to share it with you. And so I'm going to be reading these today and for the next, I don't know how long, but I just wanted to share all this information with you. So I'm starting with 1, the Word. This was written on February 28th, 2009, channeled from the Ascended Masters. Let's talk about things as they are. By what they are, we mean what things are today, in the current state of your consciousness. There are things in your life that you wish were gone. There are problems that you've created which dismantle the ideals that you would like to live by. There are feelings that you contend with that make you feel terrible. All of this is the state that you walk around in, and we want to rectify this today. And the way to do this is to first understand that anything you experience, you choose. And you choose it in 2 different ways. You choose it on a level of consciousness, which means you intend to get something, or you choose it through your unconscious behavior and belief systems, which means it always happens to me and I don't know why. Now, both of these things are operating concurrently, so you always have a combination of things going on. Your life as you intend it, and your life as you undermine it through your unconscious patternings. And the 2 things fight all the time. I want a lover. Why don't I have a lover? I want more money. I can't seem to keep more money. I want a friend, but I don't have a friend. You can ask all these questions and we will give you the same answer anytime. That when you have a pattern that sabotages your own life's intentions, you have unconscious patternings that need to be cleared. Now, this is one level of understanding, and we will say that this is number 1. Number 2 is quite different, and it actually has to do with consciousness on a larger level, on a global level, on a level of matrix. You are all in agreement about many things. You are all in agreement that pigs can't fly, and that's appropriate. Pigs can't fly. However, you are also in agreement about things that don't withstand the laws of gravity. And these are things like, I am not allowed to know myself as a divine being. Only the priest can give me the release of my sins. Only the Father in heaven can solve this problem. This is not for me. Those are 3 examples of ways that you hold larger patterns of thinking. We will give you many more. We will say to you this: the belief that civilization has been here for so many thousands of years is a collective belief in this planet. It is a collective belief because the evidence you have found to date supports it. So you go into agreement with it, and that becomes your reality. If you believe that there is only one dimension of experience that you can access, and that is the belief that you share, guess what, everybody? That becomes your experience. If you believe that you can shift and move between dimensions, and that becomes a reality in a way that can be proven and experienced, everybody suddenly will say, oh yes, we can move within dimensions. But in order to get to that place of consciousness, the matrix of belief, the systems of belief that is withheld consciousness, must be contended with directly. So the problem is this: you say you want the spiritual growth, you say you want the alignment with the Christ, but the ceiling keeps hitting you in the head each time you try to go higher. And the ceiling is the belief systems that you have held, the others that have held, that you hold as a community and as a people about what can be possible. So if we ask you this, what would happen if there was no ceiling? What would your response be? There has to be a ceiling. I have to know what the limits are. I have to know what the rules are in order to play the game with myself. Do you understand this? Well, there is a ceiling. There is always a ceiling, but the ceiling changes as you align to it and go higher. As you outgrow your clothing, you don't expect that clothing to fit you. You expect to require new clothing. Well, you have to require the ceiling to get higher and higher and higher as you ascend in frequency. When you ascend in frequency, your vibration lifts. As your vibration lifts, the requirements for your growth transform themselves, and then you are presented with new opportunities to align to the next level of consciousness. And so it goes up and up and up. You do not grow from infancy into adulthood overnight, nor do you grow into your Christed self, the self that knows the truth about your own divinity and fullness in one quick reading of a book. However, what we will tell you now may surprise you. The beginning of it is the hard part. The understanding that you are the Christ and that it can be made manifest is the key. Once the key is in the lock, the door is open and you are on the run, because the energetic configurations that are required to bring into this form can be brought to you with your intention to require it. If you say to somebody, "I only want a big house with a big lawn," the realtor is not going to show you the studio apartments. They are going to say, "This is what you requested. I will bring it to you." If you say to the universe, "I want to manifest myself as my own divine being, as my Christed self, as my higher self embodied," however you want to decree it, you have to understand that you set in motion a process, and once this process is begun, this process continues. You may pause, you may break, you may wander away, and you may wander back, but the evolution of your soul cannot stop itself from forward motion. And your soul already knows that this is the key to your growth. So we will say to you this: once the key is in the lock and you have said, "Yes, I am on this journey," your own soul will manifest itself, and the opportunities you require to bring this growth into achievement will present themselves one day at a time. Now, the manifestation of the Christ is not a little thing. It is not as if you get a new hairdo. It is not as if you change your clothing and then walk around in a robe and make people feel better. That is not the point at all. To be the Christ simply means to be yourself in full realization of your power as a piece of God in action. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was with God in the beginning. This is the decree. You are Word. You are an aspect of God being brought forth into light. As you journey, as you access this information, you become Christed in consciousness. When you become Christed in consciousness, you ascend. When you ascend, your vibrational frequency elevates and aligns in new patterns that cannot hold the old, and the old falls away as you rise. When you rise, your landscape changes. How it feels to see the world, how it feels to see the self from a higher vibration, is markedly different from what you can imagine. Because you understand your role as an aspect of the Creator, you move forward rapidly to bring you to the mandates of your soul's choice. When you are in your soul's choice, you achieve that which is required for your soul's achievement. It cannot go any other way. So we say to you that the process that you are choosing has consequences, and the consequences will make themselves known, and they will also be your pride, your fear, your loathing of the self, and the body releasing in ways that will become apparent. Because these are the low frequencies that must disband, that must release, that must go away for good. If you are to light the balloon, the sandbags that keep you tethered are those things of lower frequency that cannot go for the ride. Now you have investment in these things that control you. They keep you safe. They keep you dormant. They keep you in the illusion of separation. How can there be a God that loves me if I feel so much pain? How can I be in a war with my fellow man and still be in God? How can I know myself as good when I secretly believe I'm bad, or I'm failed, or I am unloved by man? These creations, self-loathing, fear, war, are all creations that must be cleaned from the self as the self ascends. How this process happens will become part of this book. In subsequent chapters, we will address in detail how one goes about taking out the laundry, as it were, and how one goes about releasing the past in a way that will liberate the present. How one does this through Ascension is different than how one does this in daily life. When one is in Ascension, one is rising and the tethers are releasing and the past self is being discarded as the new self incarnates in the body you are in. The new self, the Christ itself, is incarnating in the body you are in. The old self walks away and does not come back, because the old self was never truly there. It was always illusion that you were separate from God. It was always illusion that you were not loved by your fellow man. It was always illusion that there was war. Now, we are not discounting physical experience. Physical experience is very real. And you turn on the television and there's famine and there's war and there are all these stripes that preclude people from believing that such things, the things we speak about, can be so. But we will tell you this. On one dimension, these things exist and they are teachers. If you will learn from them, and they will release. On a higher level, we say there are illusion because the physical reality that you exist in is illusion as well. Does that sound like a cop-out to Paul, who was questioning us behind the window? We will say no. As you begin to understand your own ascension, you will begin to understand that those creations within and without that you have contended with have been manifested by you individually or collectively, and can be released individually and collectively. One man cannot war with his fellow, and that brings peace. And that peace will resonate. One man can ascend into Christ consciousness and change the world, and that has been done on a singular level many times in this history of this plane. It is going to be done now in many, 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 many people as the planet begins its ascension into a new millennium of peace and understanding and truth. That has been the promise. It is the promise. And those illusions that will continue to present themselves, the self-loathing, the fear, the war, may continue in a lower frequency for those who require it. But it will not be the case as you ascend in consciousness. We say earlier the view changes. Everything changes. Everything is changed. Now, when you invest in the self on a daily basis and you walk around saying, I'm going to work through my stuff, or I'm going to talk to my friend, or I'm going to go to the doctor and discuss my problems, you are working through stuff. You were talking to your friend and you were talking to your doctor about your problems, but that is not ascension. That is a process, and a beneficial one, of healing the emotional body on a day-to-day level. While you may lighten the load and while you may transform your consciousness through those actions, they are actually very different from aligning to the Christ consciousness and going on the ride of your life. Now, everybody, guess what, is on this ride at this time? No one can be away from it. However, the degree of understanding that you receive from your own self about what is happening, why it is happening, what is going forth, will change everything as you contend with the manifestations of your own Christ itself embodying as you. Guess what, everybody? This is the time. This is the time. This is the time. And the wake-up call has been heralded, and this is an aspect. This treatise is an aspect of a creation that is happening on a global level, in different vocabularies, in different treaties, in different ways to speak to people about what they need to do to bring forth their manifestation in the divine self. Paul, right now, who was raised with no religion at all, has acclimated to a vocabulary that we work with him because it resonates culturally and it signifies great truth. The same truth can be told in a mystical vocabulary that would reach people who did not believe that Christ was so. Because there have been many Christ. There have been many teachers. There have been many who have ascended and are way showers. And every religion holds these people in regard because they resonate. And the resonance of them has created structures. Now, the structures of religion, we wish to say, are only beneficial to the extent that they hold thought in productive ways. And there has been a way to hold thought through organized religion that has been beneficial to man. But true religion, if you can understand it, is a belief system. Everyone has a religion. Everyone does. Even the atheist has his religion. Now, organized religion in its current form has become blasphemy to many because it holds within it hatred, idiocracy, fear, and control. To liberate the soul means one needs to be free of fear, and any religion that dictates a fear-based doctrine of hell or damnation cannot liberate a soul. One will never leave the house when one is told what is outside the house can kill them. And if that is a lie, there would be many people living indoors without knowing the sunlight. So everybody, guess what? If you release at this time, at this juncture, any belief that the journey that you are about to go on will imply your blasphemy and your fear of damnation to be incurred, we say to you, it ain't gonna happen. This is about freedom now. This is about peace. This is about love. And how can you not have love in God? How can there be a religion that would hold anyone outside of itself and call itself God? The outrage of this in the higher dimensions is out loud. We are outraged out loud by the misfortune of man to create himself damnation where there was meant to be love. We are saddened by the role the higher teachings have played in imprisoning and slaughtering innocents. We are heartbroken at the magnitude of pain that man has endured in the name of God when God will not bring pain. He cannot bring pain. His love is made manifest. Now God allows man to create his world. God gives man permission to speak his truth. And you can hear his truth, or you can hear the truth of your buddy Fred, who says, if you don't do it this way, you're going to be stuck, or you will be punished, or bad things will happen. It's much more convenient to stay tried and true to the voice that says to you, be afraid. Because that is the voice you have honored in your spiritual growth since the beginning of time. You have believed you have been separated from the Christ, and to the extent that this has been so, you have created a world that exists in separation. Now that that is being released, the structures that have been created to keep man from God in fear, in misalignment, are being shaken to the core, and the tumbling down of the walls will make a great sound. But this is a sound that brings forth liberation and light. When the wall has obscured the light, no matter how beautiful the wall looks, the wall must be raised. And we are raising the wall individually, in collective groups, on a race level through your consciousness and through this process of ascension. The word is the vibration of God in action. Word is action. It is creation. When we say to you, I am word, we are decreeing ourselves as the creator in action. When you decree, I am word, you summon to you your own anchoring as the Christ itself and begin to make this manifest in form. The journey of how to become this energy in a way that you can feel, receive, understand, accept, believe, inhabit in truth is what we are intending for you. This is the freedom of the time. This is the freedom of the time. This is the freedom of the time. To take a journey now simply means to say to yourself, I am going elsewhere. What I believe to be true may not be true as I entered the different landscape. What I believe I needed to carry with me on this journey may not be required. So I will hold my suitcase very lightly and be willing to divest myself of that which is not needed as the journey progresses. I will believe that I am being led on this journey and that I do not need to be fearful of where I'm being directed because I trust that my soul is in charge. I can believe right now that this is a journey for good and that this passage will be unlike anything I have believed I would encounter. But as I go, I will have the experience that is intended for me. For my own soul's journey has its own requirements, and I will see the landscape before me that will reflect back my own needs. Let each one know themselves as light. This is the decree of the Creator at this time. This is the decree, and this is the heralding of the new dawn. So get ready, everyone. This will be your call. We want to give you an informational session about what you can expect as you go through the process, through the reading of this book. And one step at a time, we will take you through the industry needed to shift your consciousness and to align to the Christ vibration. Some of it will be through thought, some of this will be through intention of thought, and through actions that you'll be required to take in your physical lives to bring forth the changes that we speak of. But on a more magnificent level, it will happen to you through energies that we will be bringing forth through the reading of the book and through the exercises herein. We will stop right now with this information. To become realized as your Christ itself will require you to believe that you are loved. If you believe this now, that this is so, even for an instant, we will begin to bring forth the energy of the Creator through you to align to this love. I am word through my body. This is the initial decree to bring the body into alignment with the vibration of the Creator. I am word through my body. Word, I am word. When you affirm, I am word, you give to yourself the word vibration as self and manifestation, and you bring about a process, an alchemical process that aligns your frequency to the vibration of word. I am word through my knowing very simply says, I am word through my consciousness. We will also say to you, I am word through my consciousness, intends you to understand that I am word signifies itself as consciousness. And so consequently, your consciousness frequency becomes word, or the Creator in consciousness. I am word through my understanding of myself. I am word through my belief systems. I am word through all that I know to be true. All of these affirmations herald information implanting onto your energy field that will then realign your energy field to the Christ frequency and to the frequency of the Word. Here are the steps we take to attune people to the frequency of the Word. I am word through my being. Word, I am word. I am word through my vibration. Word, I am word. I am word through my knowing of myself as word. Word, I am word. What these steps do is actually incur change in the organism that you are, body, mind, spirit, and the evocation, I am word. Commands the change on the level of particle response, so that your entire frequency, physical and consciousness in form, will begin to realign itself to the frequency of God. As this is molded, you are transformed into the image and likeness of your Creator. This is done first on the level of the causal body in the auric field. The energy field begins to transform itself down into the physical form that it can hold this frequency when it's ready. The body cannot hold this frequency when the body is dense, and so consequently there will be a purging of sorts, of those things that create density. And these are the things we alerted to earlier. Your fear, your rage, your shame, whatever needs to clear. And frankly, whatever is an impediment to this growth will end up releasing as well. You can only pour so much clean water into a glass without having the residue finally rise to the top and release. You are the glass. The water is the light. It is the consciousness, and the residue is that which is not the light. Very, very simply put. Now we would like you all to do this with us. I am word through my body. Word, I am word. I am word through my vibration. Word, I am word. I am word through my knowing of myself as word. Word, I am word. Now we are going to bring you to the frequency of the Christ, and this will become thoroughly embedded in your auric field. Many of you will feel this as a lightening around you, as a frequency lifting, as a shift in the energy around you. This is healing you. But what this is really doing is aligning your own field to the blueprint for the manifestation of Christ to be made whole within you. Christ is always whole. What impedes it from its wholeness is the belief that it cannot be. And those things which you have placed before God, which you have placed before your soul's growth, which you have placed in the way of the light that have stopped the light from shining through. So on this mission, there will be a lot of light, but you are the light. And you are coming into your own light, and for that, there is great reason to rejoice. We leave you now in great love for your industry, and we give you the focus of intention through this assignment. Tonight, when you sleep, you will align yourself to a higher frequency, and you will allow the changes in your field to begin to be made manifest in your consciousness. You will align to this in the safety, in the peace of the Christ frequency, knowing that you are being watched over, healed, and aligned by those who support your higher achievement and growth. We give you love. Word, I am word. So be it. Whew. So, yeah, I feel great. I love doing those affirmations, and I do them every day, and it just puts me in a wonderful, wonderful place. Even when I'm feeling out of vibration, I can go back and get realigned by just saying, I am word through my body. Word, I am word. And I feel it resonating throughout my entire being. So try those out. That would be the first assignment that the book gives. And like I said, I've read these books multiple times, but every single time I read them, I get something new out of it. There's some kind of information out of it. It mentioned earlier about holding yourself separate and those things that kind of keep you in fear and afraid of your fellow. And I know with me, I've lived that way in some way for most of my life, like most people have. You're going to school and you're taught that this is my school, this is your school, this is my team, this is your team, this is my town, your town, my country, your country. And there's just so much separation that goes on with that. But yeah, it's not the case anymore for me. I just want to expand. So I know so many other people out there are also expanding. They're seeing the love in their fellow. They're seeing them through their Christed eye, and that's just amazing. All the guides that are on YouTube that I come across all the time that are spreading this message of love and peace and knowing who they are and shining that light for everybody else to see. It's been such a blessing. It would have been so hard on this journey to feel like I was all alone, to want to go back to how I was when I was a child, where you just love everybody and everything's so amazing and so new. And then throughout the course of time, you just kind of start not trusting people, I mean, I was molested as a child. There are things that have happened to me in my past that have made me want to step back and not trust this person, or feel like this person might be this way because of how they're dressed or how they look or how they talk or what music they listen to. There's so many things that kind of keep you in this state of I'm different than you, and that's just not the case. And I really, really appreciate all the guides out there that have shown the light for me. I say this all the time, but thank you so much to Paul Selig for being a channel for these amazing words. If you haven't checked him out, then you can look him up on Amazon. All the books are right there. You can read all the reviews. They're pretty amazing. I can't wait to get to some of the other books because I absolutely love all of them. And this is the first one that was channeled back in 2009. So I'm so glad I came across it. I don't even know how I came across it, but I'm changed ever since I came across these words. And I'm telling you, so many things have happened since I allowed this in, and I can't wait for everything else that's going to happen. It's abundant possibilities. I love you all. I know who you are. I know what you are. I know how you serve. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.